Back with you on Hitting Hard on Locked On Sports Atlanta. I am Jon Chuckery, and we ask you to head over to youtube.com. Find Locked On Sports Atlanta in your search browser. Subscribe to our page there. 1,700 folks, by the way. Thank you so much for growing this page so quickly. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think about the show. We are free and available on all of your podcast platforms. You can find us on Spotify, Odyssey, all of your favorites. Leave us a 5-star review, please, if you would there, and follow me on my Twitter page at JMCH316. So the Hawks rumor mill. God, I am so ready for Hawks off. I really am excited and want to get to Hawks off season. Like I'm enjoying the NBA Finals, some good games, but brother, I'm ready to get this NBA Finals over and get me toward the new league year, draft, free. I want to see what the Hawks are going to do. So every player in the history of the NBA has now been linked to the Atlanta Hawks. But one of the newer rumors, and this is maybe not so much new, but it's being spoken out loud a lot more. Jake Fisher of Bleacher Report on his NBA show podcast the other day talked about that the Hawks are now in the mix or want to be in the mix for star player for the Phoenix Suns, DeAndre Ayton. Now, remember, Ayton is a restricted free agent coming up this season. There has been a lot of chatter about whether or not he's going to stay in Phoenix and they're going to let him go and this, that, and the other. Right? He had some issues with Monty Williams. Remember when he didn't play very much, at the end of the that series against Dallas, and Monty Williams was asked about, why wasn't Ayton in there more? It's an internal issue, right? So here's what Jake Fisher had to say. Quote, Atlanta is definitely another team that I've heard for Ayton. There's one person I talked to pretty consistently who's like convinced Ayton is the guy that Atlanta wants. Okay. Ayton, obviously a center, averaged 17.2 points per game last year, 10.2 rebounds a game, 63.4% shooting. Now, let's be realistic, okay? Not your phony pie in the sky and all this kind of stuff. If the Suns are going to give up Ayton, it's going to be a sign and trade. They're not just denying a contract on Ayton and not getting something for him. You're not letting a guy like that walk out of your franchise that's been one of your cornerstone pieces to you being, one of the most successful regular season teams the last couple of seasons. And obviously a couple of years ago, they were in the NBA Finals. You're not letting a guy like that walk. Now, me personally, I'm just going to say this right up front. My personal opinion is that at the end of the day, Ayton's not going anywhere. Why would the Phoenix Suns want to give up on a guy? Again, yeah, there might be some issues in this, that, and the other, but with all due respect, he fits what they want to do. Chris Paul's another just 1 or 2 year player at this point. So what are you going to do? You're going to let Devin Booker just be on an island by himself? Paul retires in a couple of years. Ayton's already gone. What are you going to do? Hope that you draft well and get back? You don't want to waste Booker's career, so you still want to keep a core of guys in place. I don't think personally that Ayton is going to go anywhere. But if Ayton is going to be in a sign and trade, you're talking about a 4-year, $131 million deal. Because guess what they want? They want max money. And another team can offer him 4 for 131. Somebody's going to offer him max money because that's what every guy does in the NBA. With all due respect, you come off a hot franchise and be a hot commodity, everybody's going to make some kind of ridiculous offer. So 4 for 131. So what am I getting? I'm getting a quote unquote troubled center. Don't I already have a center that's competent and good enough to do what I need to do? I mean, Ayton doesn't make his own shot. Ayton's got to have a lot of help and support. So what's the big difference? I mean, you can like Ayton maybe because he's a little bit younger and this and the other than Clint Capella, but if I'm trying to win now, with all due respect, DeAndre Ayton doesn't change up the dynamic of what my team is. And then, oh yeah, I have to pay him, I don't know, a dump truck full of money. Oh, yeah, and I have to give up assets. Because with all due respect, okay, the Phoenix Suns aren't going to trade DeAndre Ayton for, Johnny-come-lately, Jimmy down at the diner, and Phil sitting in the coffee shop. You have to give up some assets. And if you're paying a guy 4 for 131, we'll do the math. That's a $30 million a year player. Okay. So you got to get your salaries kind of to match and all that kind of stuff. Would they want Bogey? Would they want Gallinari? They probably want Collins. Why would they not want another frontline player to go with their team? So I have to way overpay him and I have to pay him more than my current center, pay him max, trade my assets for a 17-10 guy that replaces my 14-14 guy. Help me understand the math and all this. And I understand Ayton's young, hot name. It's cool. It's hip or this, that, and the other. Okay. And I'm all for adding star talent. But we go back to this. This is almost change for the sake of saying that we tweaked and changed our roster. And we pay a lot of money to one guy. We go in the luxury tax with a guy. We trade some of our assets. But did our basketball team get that much better? I mean, Ayton is not he's not Rudy Gobert defensively. He's not an elite, rim protector. And I'm not saying Capella is, but it's not like Ayton just trumps him. So at least with Rudy Gobert, you could say, okay, he's a first team all defense, defensive player of the year candidate. So he's going to be better than pretty much any other big guy I can put in there. Can't say that with Ayton. And offensively, he's no more or less limited than what Clint Capella is. And if you look last year, right, the teammate combo in the league that combined for the most field goals made was Capella and Trae Young. So again, I don't understand like where Capella is a problem. I'm not saying I won't trade Clint Capella if I'm getting a super mega star back. But Ayton to me just is, it's finally kind of clicking. He's in the right system. He might have the right coach. I mean, what happens if you come here? Let's say he does have the internal problems. What if he comes here outside the organization that he's known his entire career and comes here and it doesn't work or doesn't click? And he gets in a doghouse or whatever like that. Now I've got a max player that's not happy. And you could say, well, Chuckery, he may come in here and he might. But again, what I'm saying and what you're saying is throwing darts at the wall. The fact that we have to have the discussion about are there any internal issues with DeAndre Ayton puts up that red flag, because we're talking about I got to pay him max money and give up assets. So if I'm going to pay max and give up assets, we darn sure better be ready that he's going to come in here and make a big difference. I better know for sure that it's 100% that he ain't going to cause a rift, ain't going to cause problems. My coach and him are not going to have issues. And he's going to come in here and transform my franchise. I mean, that's what max guys are. If you're going to max guys out for the big money, they have to come in and transform your franchise. I don't see that in DeAndre Ayton. I don't see him as a guy that transform your franchise. And again, like I said at the very beginning of this, I think at the end of the day, he's going to stay in Phoenix. It would make more sense for him to stay in Phoenix than it would be to move somewhere else. And by the way, the Suns can offer him the, additional year and the more money, right? The bird rights. The Suns can offer him up to $177 million. Okay. So let's say they don't offer him all 177. Even at $150 million, that's $19 million more than another team can sign him for. So even if they don't want to max him out at 177, let's say they go 150. Okay, that's still almost $20 million more than what the Hawks or any other franchise could offer him. Why would he leave a good situation to take less money just to get out of Phoenix? If he's that troubled, he should be demanding a trade in this, any other. But you haven't heard that from him. I like DeAndre Ayton. I just don't think it makes a lot of sense for the Atlanta Hawks to try to make a move on him, especially max and trade and all that kind of stuff. All right, when we get back, the Braves have first world problems right now. Talk about that next. Hitting Hard with Jon Chuckery on Locked On Sports Atlanta.